The Hawks are back on the road for a rematch of a game played at Lumen Field last year against the Saints. Hello 12s, I'm Jen Mueller with a preview of Seattle's game against New Orleans. When these teams met last year, the Saints narrowly edged Seattle 13-10 with Geno Smith at quarterback. But this year, Seattle has momentum coming off an offensive performance in Detroit that set season highs.
We just know that we got to run the ball again. We just need the opportunities. And sometimes, yeah, it's hard because, you go out there and it's not always going to work out right where you just get a couple yards on the first time. And it's actually worked out the same way against Detroit last year as well. We started off really slow running the ball, but Shane kept calling the runs. All of a sudden, we got it going. So we have a lot of momentum going into New Orleans this week. So if we can just get the opportunities, we'll be good.
On the surface, it looks like there's room to run against New Orleans. The Saints' run defense ranks 20th in the league at 124 yards a game. But the last three opponents have averaged just 99 yards a game.
They're a really good group, good veteran group, and they play really hard and they get after the ball. So we have to be on it in terms of that and being detailed on our assignment, and also just you got to play tough this week. They're going to make it a physical match and they're going to try to beat us up. So good. We love those kind of matches. We're going to try to beat them up as well.
Seattle also needs to keep third down opportunities manageable. It has been a leading factor in being able to convert 55% of their attempts this season, third most in the league. In the previous matchup against the Saints, Seattle converted on just 3 of 12 opportunities. Recent history should give the Hawks a better feel of what to expect this time around.
All the looks they gave us, they gave us a bunch of tough looks on third downs, and, they're really good in their pass rush and the schemes and the way that they scheme up things. So just being prepared for that, and then just handling the situations. I think we did a pretty good job last year. But we weren't great in situational football, and so handling those situations when they come about in the game.
Geno was sacked 5 times in the game, twice by Demario Davis, who helped to bottle up the Hawks' offense, recording 10 tackles.
Demario and I were on the Jets together when I got drafted, and he's always been a great run and hit player. He's got a lot of passion. He's the leader of that team, leader of that defense. He's always been a great player, and he's a really good middle linebacker, and we just got to be ready to know where he is and take advantage of opportunities when we have them.
In the passing game, Geno is coming off back-to-back 300-yard games. He found DK Metcalf 7 times for 149 yards in Detroit. This week, DK will be face-to-face with Marshawn Lattimore. The Hawks wideout beat Lattimore early in last year's matchup and scored on an 84-yard touchdown play. But after that, was held to just 1 reception on 4 targets.
I think it's going to be an exciting matchup. He's a good corner. They got a good defense. Their defensive structure is pretty much the same as we seen last week. So looking to see some similar coverages. But it's going to be an exciting game, closer to home for me. So I'm going to have a lot of family at the game. So it's going to be a very exciting time just to be back in the South.
The 1-3 Saints have scored just 19 points a game and have started both Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton at QB. The latter getting the start last week in place of an injured Winston, who was dealing with back and ankle injuries. But who's under center isn't as big of a concern as simply getting to the quarterback.
Really not pleased at all with where we are. We shouldn't be in this spot right now. We should be off to a better start than this. But you can see the potential, and so we have to just keep fighting it and making sure that we're on it and just minimize the issues that have been popping up. One of the areas that we really need to improve on is we got to get rid of these penalties. We've got 10 penalties on 3 guys, all in coverage, coverage issues, and we can fix those. It's not like you don't have to be faster or stronger or anything. You can fix those. I want those out of our game, and then let's take those 10 plays out of. Those were all, they turn into explosive plays that don't really show up in the stats and all that. I think that's a major area of focus for us to get better.
You can go through growing pains and not give up 45 points at the end of the day. That's never acceptable. I don't care who's out there or who's coaching or whatever the case may be. So just to finish the game in a better fashion.
And finish tackles against a runner like Alvin Kamara, who's expected back from a rib injury. In 2 games against Seattle, he has racked up 340 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns. Last year against the Hawks, he recorded 128 receiving yards on 10 catches. He is not like any other back in the league.
Shoot, he run like water. He just smooth, and he got a nice little body. Like, it's hard to bring him down, but the defense is going to do a good job.
He's elite, obviously, that's what makes him a good back, one of the best backs in the league. But, ultimately, we just play our defense, and be, be who we are and not do anything out of ordinary, and we'll be fine.
I remember in college just looking at Saints games, and he was having, explosive runs, but what stuck out the most was a running back that can actually go out there and play receiver or can catch passes and make plays after. I know a lot of teams may not have backs they can do that with, but with the Saints, they got a back that can actually do a receiver's job and a running back's job.
Interesting to note, the Saints played in London last week and opted not to take their bye this week. We will see how that plays out on Sunday. Kickoff is set for 10 a.m. You can watch that game on Fox 13 or listen on the Seahawks Radio Network.